What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we have the wrong way to set speed limits. This is from Not Just Bike's channel. Love the freaking content. Um, Ended up disagreeing with him in the last video, but I'm excited to dive into this one. Before we do, though, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up. Also, if you like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Without further ado, let's get to it.
Have you ever been driving down a street and seen a speed limit that just doesn't make sense? Why is the
Yes,
speed
I
limit 40
have.
kilometers per hour here?
Doesn't make
Should it be?
sense. No,
And should this street also be 40?
no, that should be
Who decides this stuff
25.
and how? The historical way of setting speed limits and the method still used in most places in North America is the 85th percentile rule.
Hmm.
This rule states that you build a road,
Okay.
call your lowest paid engineering intern, and send them out with a radar gun and a clipboard to record the speeds of drivers during a time of good weather and good visibility.
Okay.
Then you throw away the top 15% of speeds, and the highest speed left is rounded down, and that becomes your new speed limit.
Are you serious?
This approach seems reasonable until you think about it at all. This method means that 15% of all drivers are breaking the speed limit. So why the 85th percentile?
True.
Why not 90% or any other number?
Yeah,
Why not just fire the intern and make shit up?
that's a good question. I literally love reacting to this channel because I get to learn so much, and I did not know that's how speed limits were set. I didn't even think about, yeah, you build a new road, and I thought immediately like you just already had a speed limit for it. Like as soon as roads are built, I thought speed limits were already made for them. I didn't know about they just see how fast drivers go in good weather, eliminate the 15%, round down the highest speed after that, and then that's your speed. I That's very interesting.
But the bigger issue with the 85th percentile is that, like most things wrong with American traffic engineering, it's a 1960s metric designed for use on rural roads that was then applied to everything, from highways to city streets and everything in between. To understand the problem better, it's useful to review the road versus street definitions used by strong towns. I have a whole video about this, but here's a quick refresher. This is a road, a high-speed connection between two places.
Okay.
It is a simplified environment with minimal driveways, side streets, or crossings, and often no access for pedestrians or cyclists. Using this language, a highway is a type of road.
Yes.
This is a street, a complex environment with businesses, houses, and lots of people outside of cars.
Okay.
This is a strode, a street-road hybrid that is dangerous, inefficient, and expensive. Stroads should never exist, but for now, let's stick to streets and roads.
Okay.
The 85th percentile rule may be arbitrary, but it, or something like it, is not necessarily a bad way to set the speed limit of a road.
Okay.
One of the elements of safety on a rural road is that all drivers should be driving at around the same speed. When speeds are consistent, most drivers are traveling together, there is minimal overtaking, and therefore minimal opportunities for conflict.
Understandable.
This is based on research of US rural roads in the 1960s.
Oh.
The problem comes when this design approach for a rural road is applied to a street. Unlike a road, a street is not a thoroughfare. It is a destination, a place for productive city life. A street will be lined with houses or businesses.
Yeah.
It will also have pedestrians and cyclists who aren't being considered at all in that 85th percentile.
That's a good point.
A
That's
good
great
street is
point.
complex, and that complexity is what makes for a pleasant, attractive, and productive street. And a good street is not compatible with high-speed traffic, so speeds should be low. Many cities in the US and Canada design dangerous high-speed streets, or rather stroads, right through their city centers.
Facts.
And then they wonder why pedestrian fatalities are so high and why all the downtown shops went out of business.
Yeah, I mean, really, in these city centers, yeah, I mean, he's absolutely right. I hate going slow though. I will say that I absolutely hate going slow. But I would say here in the US it ain't there's some, but I would say I mean maybe due to the rule 85 percentile and excluding pedestrians, it ain't really too much pedestrians out walking. Like everybody, even in the city center, everybody's driving to get to where they need to go. Um, there is people out walking, and I do want them to be safe, and they should be safe. And maybe setting some more rules for pedestrians would make people who drive want to walk more in these city centers. But without that being the case, I mean, from my personal experience, so I guess I can't, and I've only been to like 3 or 4 states. In city centers, everybody's still driving anyway. Um, but I think on strolls, I don't know. I guess that could be dangerous, especially yeah, it is dangerous when you put it like he does. So when you think about it like that, yes, it is dangerous. Me personally, I just hate going slow.
In fact, the very best streets are those with almost no motor vehicles at all. In short, moving motor vehicles is not the primary purpose of a street. So, setting speed limits to whatever drivers feel like driving is a terrible way to determine vehicle speeds on a street. Speed is the single biggest
Oh,
factor in the fatality of car crashes. Well, it's actually momentum, which is velocity times mass, but that's not important right now. The higher the speed, the more likely it is that a crash will be fatal.
that makes
This is
sense.
especially true for cyclists and pedestrians. At higher speeds, it also becomes more difficult for a driver to react in time and for a vehicle to stop in time to
True,
avoid a collision.
true, 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 true.
And as modern vehicles become more powerful and safer for their occupants, drivers feel even more confident driving at higher speeds, which is making the issue of speeding even worse. So, the
Yeah.
best thing to do to reduce road fatalities is to lower the speed that vehicles are driving.
Mm-mm.
This is why you're seeing
Mm-mm.
cities all over the world reducing their speed limits.
Nah, we can't do
And to be
that.
clear, this is a good thing for multiple reasons. In fact, even traffic congestion actually improves when speed limits are lowered, but I'll talk about
Really?
that in a future video.
Okay.
Unfortunately, most cities do this completely wrong by just putting up a new sign.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to be fair, just changing the sign does have a small effect on average speeds, and it's better than nothing, but it's not a permanent solution, and here's why this is a problem. Driving is a subconscious activity. As much as we'd like drivers to pay attention all the time, we would get exhausted if we had to always consciously focus on driving. Humans just aren't built for that. Well,
You
some
make a
humans
good.
are, but we call them
Yeah.
professional race car drivers. Have you ever been driving somewhere on the weekend and suddenly found yourself driving to work without realizing it? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why.
Or I'd
And
say you drive into work and you get there and you park and then you had that moment where you're like, bro, how did I get here? Like I don't even remember driving here. Like I've had a couple of those moments. Now maybe mentally I just got some issues going on, but I hope that somebody can relate in the comment section, please. But yeah, sometimes I'll drive places and be like, bro, I literally don't even like remember the entire like I know I was driving, but I don't remember much about driving here, bro. I'm here. And it's crazy. But maybe that's just me.
this is the fundamental problem with speed limits. Most people don't consciously think about what speed they're going. They're
No.
not obsessively checking their speedometer or reading every speed limit sign they pass.
Mm-mm.
The
Until
vast majority
unless
of
we see one of them police cars pull up. Unless I see one of them, then hey, I'm checking the speedometer, I'm checking the side view, I'm checking everything.
drivers will drive at whatever speed feels comfortable for the road they're driving on.
True.
This is what's known as the design speed of the road. And if that design speed doesn't match the posted speed limit, then we have a problem. Here is an example of a street, actually more of a strode, that has a very high design speed. The street is wide and straight, there are lots of wide lanes for motor vehicle traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about this street is telling drivers to drive quickly.
Yeah.
In fact, the only thing that's slowing down drivers here at all is this traffic light, which is often red. But the speed limit here is 40 kilometers per hour. Unsurprisingly, almost nobody is driving at that speed, so they put up this flashing sign to snap people out of their subconscious driving and remind them to slow down.
I feel that.
Now, this is a complicated street. The street is lined with houses, there's a school here too, and there are
Oh,
pedestrians and cyclists. The speed limit should be low here, probably 30
yeah.
kilometers per hour or lower, but putting up a sign like this is not the right way to
I
do
feel
it.
like especially with a school being there, bro. I don't know, like we do have plenty of shows like in the US, but when it's a school, You usually have your regular speed limit, and then it'll say speed limit when lights are flashing. So in the school, like regular speed limit may go down to like when lights are flashing, 15 miles per hour, but regular speed limit might be like 35 miles per hour. But so yeah, when you're in a school zone, you got to go a lot slower. But as soon as you get out of that school zone, you can resume your 35 miles per hour. And so it's surprising that there's a school right here. I mean, I know this is Canada, but that there's a school right here. There's not a school speed zone.
because it doesn't match the design speed of the street. There's an even more ridiculous situation that's common in rural areas of the US and Canada. Here we are coming into a town along a 90 km/h road. It's unsafe to drive this fast through the town, so now the speed limit is 70. And now it's 50. But
Yeah.
there's literally nothing done to change the geometry of the road. In fact, a bit farther along, the road is even wider to accommodate street parking, so any driver who's not constantly looking at their speedometer will continue driving too fast.
Facts.
So once again, many towns put up flashing signs like this one to remind drivers to slow down,
Yeah.
like me in this case, because I missed the sign. Literally every town like this in the US and Canada have residents who complain about drivers speeding through their town.
True.
And the reason for this is that North American traffic engineers are stubbornly stuck in the world of 1960s traffic planning. This is a topic that is explored in detail in the new book, Confessions of a Recovering Engineer, by
Oh.
Strongtown's founder, Chuck Marohn. In one chapter, the book states, "To be safe, the street must communicate the real level of risk to the driver.
Okay.
In other words, the driver must feel discomfort driving in a manner that is unsafe."
Got you.
The truth is that many drivers will not slow down because of signs or speed limits. They'll slow down either because they don't feel safe or because they're afraid of damaging their car.
Yeah. Or could the cops around?
What this means, though, is that we can take this subconscious driving reality and use it to our advantage by designing the street or road for the speed that we want, which is exactly what traffic engineers do in civilized countries like Sweden or the Netherlands.
I love it. Dang, why the U.S. ain't a civilized country? Canada not civilized? That's tough.
Here's what it looks like to enter a small town in the Netherlands. The road is visually narrowed by the dotted lines and trees are planted closer to the road. Then there is a speed bump and the road becomes so narrow that only one car can pass at a time. Road design like this immediately triggers a subconscious response. Everything about this road design suggests low speeds, and you
Yeah.
don't need a flashing sign to tell drivers to slow down.
I just think
This-
in the Netherlands, though, it's completely different infrastructure in the Netherlands, as you show. Like Netherlands it's more geared towards kind of pushing you to get around by bike or pushing you to get around by public transport, rather than being in a car. And I think the U.S. was designed for cars, and so with completely different infrastructures, it'd be hard to incorporate like Netherlands infrastructure into the United States because everybody ain't cycling or everybody ain't walking or more than not more times than not 9 times out of 10 people are going to be transporting themselves by car. So it's to me it's just very different.
This approach is used
hard.
all over the Netherlands. Here is a country road with an 80 km/h speed limit. Coming up on the left are a few driveways to some farmhouses that might be a potential source of conflict. But instead of arbitrarily posting a lower speed limit, there are trees that have been planted close to the road. This immediately signals to the driver that they need to pay attention at this location.
Okay.
One of the great things about driving in the Netherlands is that it's rarely necessary to look at the speed limit. The road design takes care of that for you.
I feel that.
Here's a 50 km/h road. And on this street, it feels right to drive slower.
Yeah, I would.
Here we are approaching a pedestrian crossing, and the street design suggests we should slow down and pay attention. And this is very clearly a slow residential street where it feels right to drive 30 km/h.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
old
he's
approach
right.
was to design the street, check the 85th percentile speed, and set the speed limit accordingly. But the modern, safer approach is to choose the speed limit that's appropriate for the context of the street, and if drivers are consistently going faster than that, then the street design should change until drivers are going the desired speed. It's not the 1960s anymore. We have decades of data that can tell us with fairly good precision what speed a typical person will drive on a given road or street.
I
If
feel
you
that.
make it wide, simple, and straight, most people will drive quickly. If you make it narrow, complex, and twisty, most people will drive slowly.
Yeah,
This isn't
that's
rocket
facts.
science, and several cities have already adopted these practices, but the outdated methods are still being followed by the majority of traffic engineers in the US and Canada. We can't keep doing this. It's time to stop blindly following the guidelines of the previous century and design the streets to match the right speed limit, and not the other way around.
I feel
I'd like
like
to thank
that was definitely another great video, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this one. Agree, disagree. He's probably right. I just don't see it changing based on the terms of America's infrastructure was built for cars. It wasn't really built for pedestrians and cyclists. And so, do I see them changing it? I just don't see him changing it. But he's probably right about it being much more safe. Y'all talk to me in the comment section. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe, give a video a thumbs up, and don't forget to check out the next video. I'll see you guys next time.